Justice Olukayode Ariwola had in November 2022 sworn in 307 justices to consider the petitions arising from the 2023 general elections. 5 justices, led by Justice Haruna Samani, were assigned to consider the petitions arising from the presidential election. The court, which sat at the Court of Appeal premises, started proceedings by holding pre-hearing on the petitions from May 8, 2023. 5 political parties, namely the People's Democratic Party, the Labour Party, the Allied People's Movement, Action Alliance, and the Action People's Party, lodged petitions against the victory of President Bola Tinubu at the polls. However, the Action People's Party and the Action Alliance withdrew their petitions before the court could hear the substantive suit. No reason was given for their withdrawals. Some of the key issues in the petitions include the academic qualification of the president, the alleged indictment of the president in the United States, the alleged dual citizenship of the president, the alleged double nomination of Vice President Kashim Shettima, the 25% votes in the FCT, amongst others. The Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, is basing his petition on the failure of INEC to upload election results on the INEC Result Viewing Portal IREV in real time, using the bimodal voter accreditation machine, BVAS. The APM petition is alleging that the Vice President was nominated twice for the election. The PDP candidate, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, asked the court to order a rerun or declare him the actual winner of the exercise based on the petitions which he claimed that he secured the highest number of votes. The substantive hearing of the petition commenced on May 8, 2023, as the petitioners and respondents called their witnesses alongside loads of documents tendered to prove their case. After over 4 months, the 5-member panel of the court dismissed the appeals for lacking merit.
So you escaped today? You know we're escaping tomorrow.
The next stop for the petitioners is the Apex Court, and the candidates filed their appeal on September 19, 2023. While the Labour Party filed 51 grounds for the appeal, the PDP filed 35 grounds for the appeals. The PDP also had fresh evidence on the president's academic qualification.
I will only drop the fight when the court rules. If the court rules that I am right, fine. If the court rules that he is right,
he should let the world know his name, his nationality, his place of birth, his parentage, the primary and secondary school he attended with dates, as well as the actual universities he attended and certificates obtained.
On Monday, October 23, 2023, a 7-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice John Okoro, sat on the petitions. At the hearing, counsel to Mr. Atiku presented the new evidence, while the Allied People's Movement withdrew its appeal. The court heard the arguments for the petitions and reserved it for judgment. The decision of the Apex Court finally puts to rest the winner of the February 25, 2023 presidential election.
So a look at the journey so far, and I can tell you that the Obidients and well-meaning Nigerians worldwide that we triumphed, yes, they think we lost, but really we have unmasked Tinubu for who he is and what he did, and we have also unmasked the INEC and the guidelines. This is, I think, the first time in the elections being held in Nigeria that most Nigerians are interested in the outcome. So Maxwell, please, I'm coming to you now. There's many questions coming from our people who their mood is down and they look downcast, and they ask me a lot of questions of whether there is hope and whether we should keep the hope alive. And each time I said yes, because I believe there is a whole lot of things that we have achieved in the last 1 year, and the fact that we can achieve more by exposing more of the INEC plans before the next election and saving Nigeria from the trauma again. So please, can you just help us look at whether what I am talking to our own obedience are correct, and whether we achieved more, and the fact that we did not lose?
Well, Mr. Kanu, I don't want to believe that even this entire attempt which we made is over, because believe you me that there are still elections coming ahead. There's election in Imo State, there's election in Kogi State, and other elections that we also need to look at. But on the flip side of it, when you want to look particularly at the presidential election, yes, we may have lost the case at the Supreme Court as a result of several inconsistencies with the judgment which we have seen. But it is not to say that we cannot point to one or two things to show that indeed we were able to make reasonable strides. You understand? So we made several strides. We were able to make sure, we were able to ensure that we made our statement clear as youths in the Federal Republic of Nigeria that we can come out together, make a decision, and execute that decision. It wasn't a play for over 6 million people by the results that was released by INEC, of course, to vote for Mr. Peter Obi. It was not a fluke. It took serious calculations, it took dedications, it took time, it took everything. So we won in several angles. The people won in several angles. We were able to ensure that we put people who we wanted in the legislature. We were also able to ensure that we put people who we wanted even at the state houses of assembly, not only at the federal level. Even at the state level, we ensured that people got there. So that is what I'm saying. On the flip side of it, we have created a force that can come together and say, this is what we are going to do. This is whom we are going to vote. And it is going to stand so. Forget about the smoke screen that you see of injustice that is trying to blind the eyes or cover the reality. The truth is that Mr. Peter Obi, if those results were calculated properly, won that election. So we don't care about what the judiciary is making out of it. We don't care about what INEC is making out of it. It is in fact, it is insane that the judiciary will throw away over 300 billion of monies that was invested to make sure that we do electronic transmission in our electioneering season. So these are the truths. So people don't need to go back and feel sad. Yes, we may be sad about our democracy today, that our democracy has been reduced to this level whereby it is no longer seen as a democracy we are no longer seeing it as a government, as a choice of the people, by the people, and for the people. It is no longer such type of government, but it has become one that a particular selected few can determine what's happening. But we need to look at our strengths in the fact that if we can come together, we look at the things that we did not do right and realize that irrespective of all of that, we still won in several angles. We still were able to make a mark. We still were able to make a difference. And that is why we have our voice standing till today. So nevertheless that we were robbed, that we were cheated, we won on several fronts. So people must realize this and come to accept that going forward, we don't need to fall back. We don't need to fall back. Moreover, it is not yet over. A lot of people are still, on the streets. Did I tell you that even yesterday in Delta State, a lot of people were on the street? But in the reality, we are not losers in all of this because we are Nigerians. However, Nigeria did not win at the courts yesterday. Nigeria did not win at the courts. Our collective democracy did not win at the courts. Our government did not win at the courts. What we saw is not winning for the people. But as obedient, as well-meaning Nigerians, let us have that mindset that we won by bringing people together. We won by bringing people who are politically aware, who are politically inclusive, who are ready to participate and ensure that good governance returns to Nigeria.
Okay, Maxwell, very, very quickly, there is this very saying that a nation is doomed when its leaders are no longer afraid of the reactions of the people. So it's actually from a clergy. I just want you to take the clip is like some seconds. I need you to hear how he said it, and it has to do with that the people. Let's take a listen to this. We get back so that you can. It's a clergy clearly saying that the reactions, that a nation is doomed when its leaders are no longer afraid of the reaction of the people. So let's take a listen to that and then we'll come back.
Instead of you are being provoked to repentance, you are provoked to anger against the person who tells you what you are doing is wrong. You are doomed. But worse still, a nation is doomed when its leaders are no longer afraid of the reaction of the people. The religious leaders of Israel at that time, the Pharisees and the chief priests, they wanted to arrest Jesus, but they were afraid of the people. It was only when they were able to manipulate the people that they eventually arrested Jesus and had him killed. Anytime a government is no longer afraid of its citizens, that nation is doomed. We can see what is happening in our country today. Who is afraid of who? Government? Afraid of you? Afraid of workers?
So Maxwell, coming back to you, when the leaders are no longer afraid of the citizens, they say that nation is doomed. What do you think about this and moving forward?
Mr. Kanu, the thing is, we must realize as a people that there is a lot to, to all of these stories. There's a lot to elections in Nigeria. There's a lot to the decision of the people and what they want when people decide to participate in an electioneering season. There are hopes and aspirations. And if those hopes are dashed, it creates a new memory. It creates a new perception of the people and the government. And when the people begin to realize that the government no longer care about what they feel, the government no longer care about what they think, the government no longer care about, the perception of the people, we are headed for doom. And that is the case. Because what we have seen is just a state capture, whereby it doesn't matter what the law says. I think that we should even be bothered about clear and affront violations of the law than we should be bothered about the fear of the people. Because the people can decide to even revolt on illegal basis. Let me put it that way. A particular set of people may decide to revolt on illegal basis. But if the laws are true and genuine, and the government can keep to these laws, it will create a satisfaction, and we will have a society that is sane and that is working within the ambits of the law. But what we are seeing in Nigeria is that we have a government that don't care about what the people think or what the people say, and a government that don't even care about the clear expressions, the principles, the spirit of the laws. They don't care anymore. So it only means that such society, sooner or later, would need to be, would have itself to blame, because they can only be headed for doom. And it doesn't look good with Nigeria. I am not a prophet of doom, but I can say that with the way we are going, where people in power, the government no longer thinks that the decisions and the soul and the aspirations of the people are relevant, then we are headed for something that we may regret sometime later. Thank you.
So we have our own Dele Farotimi also saying that that Nigeria is drafting or drifting towards the cliff, you know, like self-destruct or something like that. I want us to take a listen to what he said, very short clip of what he said, that Nigeria is actually in that very clip, about to trip. Looking at the dollar heading up, you can't buy anything anywhere. I want you to, listen to this and also give us your own insight. Let's take a listen to him and then come back.
Never been circumspect about speaking my mind on what I believe to be the way forward for Nigeria. I have never hidden my position. My position has always been clear. Nothing short of a revolution can save Nigeria from itself. Nigeria is already designed to self-destruct. If you are going to save Nigeria, you are going to have to own up to the fact that what we have is not. But when I say a revolution, I must be careful to define, because a lot of time, what you find is that the evil men governing Nigeria have demonized the word revolution. But the word revolution comes from the French word revolver. Revolver means to turn around. Nigeria is heading to the cliff edge as we speak. The existing legal order has already been destroyed. The basis of the legal order governing Nigeria today, the 1999 Constitution, has been destroyed. So we are either going to sit down, acknowledge the fact of the destruction of that document, and then begin to fashion a different way forward, or the system will grind to a halt and chaos will ensue. What do I mean? I would explain. The 1999 Constitution, a document a lot of us have assailed for years, sets out rules and guidelines and has provided for how things should be done. But there is no way that Constitution can continue to exist in the presence of a Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidency. To validate Bola Ahmed Tinubu's presidency, the Supreme Court is going to have to shred the 1999 Constitution, and by affirming the heresy that came out of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. If the Supreme Court proceeds to validate that judgment, what you then find is that it would have opened the Pandora box for the destruction of the 1999 Constitution. It might take a day, might take a year, it might take 2 years, but that constitution effectively dies. They might enforce his death and continue to pretend that we still have a constitution and a democracy by sheer force of arms. It might be that those of us who desire a revolution might mismanage the movement, and then it turns into chaos simply because we fail to act or we act wrongly. But the fact of the matter is that you cannot sustain the lies of a constitutional democracy.
Dele Farotimi talking about the only way to save Nigeria. Now that the Supreme Court affirmed the mandates that INEC gave to Bola Tinubu, he said the Pandora box, so to speak, has been opened, and more of the Constitution has been thrown out the door. So Maxwell, very shortly, we know we don't have that time, but can you please just give us your idea or your analysis of this very headed towards a cliff, and also the Pandora box opening as the Supreme Court has affirmed the INEC mandate?
Okay.